Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. It's time now to review newspaper headlines. And of course, we are going to start with the newspaper of record this day on Saturday.
Absolutely. And the cover of this day today is quite loaded. Interesting stories all over. The lead story is about what is still happening in the Middle East. U.S. Israel ramp up Iran strikes. Federal government urges stranded Nigerians to stay put until ceasefire. That's the federal government. What is that?
Yes.
Do we have the likelihood of a ceasefire at some point if Trump is saying that?
Well, unconditional. Trump said he wants unconditional surrender.
Surrender.
So
what does surrender mean?
That is a very
we'll stop
good
fighting
question.
And then bring in a new spiritual leader for us
that America chooses. It's a very bizarre situation.
I'm trying to understand what unconditional surrender means.
I think Donald Trump is also trying to understand what he means from time to time.
But the writers to the lead story, they speak to what is actually going on, both over there and down here. Trump demands unconditional surrender from Iran, just like we said. Oil price hits $90 per barrel. Russia providing Iran intelligence to target U.S. forces, officials say. Isn't that an interesting angle?
It is a very interesting angle, especially because Donald Trump, of course, just gave India permission to buy stranded Russian oil, temporarily lifting sanctions for 30 days.
Had they not been doing that before now? Or he's just making it formal?
I'm just making it formal there. So I think it's very interesting. And as the war goes on, I think we're going to maybe see more and more of what role, if any, Russia and China are playing, especially also as Donald Trump has also asked Ukraine and Zelensky for interceptors for the drones, the Shahid drones. So.
And then there's a report. The war costs $800 million US dollars.
$890 million.
$890 million. That's what it's costing the US on a daily basis. And we don't know what the war is costing Iran, because there's also a cost to Iran, there's a cost to Israel, there's a cost to the world. But for America, it's $890 million daily. And then rewarded to CBN. Build reserve, resist temptation to boost Naira. All the stories are on page 5 of today's This Day. On top of that lead story, we come back home. It's about the new ambassadors. Tinubu approves posting of 65 new ambassadors, high commissioners. And the riders directs Foreign Affairs Ministry to commence induction course for new envoys. I'm not sure that they should be reporting the president saying that. It's a standard practice, isn't it? That once ambassadors are appointed, there will be an induction course. And then ADC posting another blunder, evidence of incompetence. What are they against in this posting?
Perhaps some of
Dr. Jimo Ibrahim to the United Nations. I'm just saying, because to be in opposition shouldn't just be about criticizing everything. You wanted ambassadors to be appointed. A list was submitted. They were all cleared. Now they've been assigned their countries. What is the issue there?
I would say I'm not entirely clear on the issue of the ADC here, but I would say that for me, my primary issue is that most career diplomats were retained on the continent, and if this seemed to align with the AFCTA, push, or Africa push, or trying to even elevate ourselves across the continent as a middle power, then I would be like, okay, that is fair. But it doesn't seem like this is some coordinated policy decision. And it's disappointing. It's not uniquely disappointing that, this is the first time this has happened, that the list has come out and I'm disappointed. But it is still disappointing when you, especially because I spend a lot of my time with other Africans, and anytime they have conversations, their idea and their want for Nigeria is so much bigger than it seems that we hold ourselves to. Primarily at a time where geopolitics is shaping up. The new era, we don't know the new era we're entering, but it seems that Nigeria is not primed to take lead even internally or externally with this list. Yeah,
well, still talking about ADC, there is not too good a story on page 8, which is, promoted on cover here, on the strip down there. Amechi escapes gunmen attack in Rivers as thugs raise ADC secretariat. That is the type of politics that we do not want. I do not have the details, but I'm sure that the story on page 8 of this day will give clarity to what has happened. But we know, of course, the sort of context that might have played out there. Amechi, former governor, and of course not been in good terms with the FCT minister, who is seen as the Don Dada of, currently that is, of the Rivers State politics. Then the idea of raising down ADC secretariat, like the sort of a thing that we witnessed in Benin City in Edo State, that should not be encouraged at all. It should be condemned. And I hope that the police will still come out with what actually happened in Benin City, where ADC members were attacked.
Yes.
That has to be sorted. 2 more stories on the cover of this day before we pick another one. Ejun, that's the Minister of Finance. These days, people are not so eager to call him coordinating Minister of the Economy, but then his role actually is Minister of Finance. And he said that Nigeria's economy is undergoing correctional services for the Nigerian economy. What that means, you will find on page 5 of today's This Day. And then the window story, Central Bank of Nigeria, 30 banks have scaled new minimum capital thresholds, vows to maintain close supervision. That's good after all.
Yes.
It looks like CBN is, in all the chaos here and there, CBN is, throwing some positive news.
I just like that Cardi B keeps proving me right. I've been calling him Cardi B from the beginning, and he keeps proving me right. I am, it feels good to be cautiously optimistic about something.
Yeah.
And I do think that what we're seeing from the Central Bank of Nigeria, whether it's our reserves, whether it's trying to strengthen the banking sector, the finance sector, it does inspire some confidence. But I don't want us to leave this day without this picture.
Picture.
Yes.
That's an important thing, because Chief Oduto also spoke to it, the Grid Asset Management Company Review Committee, which was inaugurated, on behalf of the President by the Chief of Staff, who's also the chair of that committee, by the way. Yes.
My very good friend is standing right here in this picture.
Who's that? Which one of them?
Tomi Belgore. Both were in law school together. So it's really nice to see.
What's his role there?
He's a lawyer. He's a lawyer, so I'm not sure policy. He works with policy.
I see.
He works in policy in the sector, so not entirely sure what role he'll be playing there. But it's very interesting to see that there are a group of young people in the corner here, and not just the old heads. But let's move on to Saturday Vanguard.
Okay.
The Saturday Vanguard, of course, leads with Iran. Iran behind terrorism in Nigeria. That is what the Israeli ambassador said on Arise News, saying that Iran was sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria. The Iranian ambassador, of course, has since replied, saying that Iran and Nigeria have a very good relationship, that Iran itself has suffered from terrorism and it's not a sponsor of terrorism in Nigeria. Of course, Iran is known to have certain proxies, but those proxies are Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis in Yemen. No word of having any proxies or relations with the organizations in Nigeria.
It is just that we should be careful.
We definitely should.
A message to Nigerians, don't die in their war. Don't carry things, because we see all those, funny protests here and there, trying to support one against the other.
Yes, it's always expected, particularly if you have the death of a spiritual leader, that you will have responses or protests from both sides. Now, the Saturday Vanguard does have more details on the attack on Rotimi Amechi, saying that his house was attacked, and that story is on page 4. I think it's very important as we go into this new election cycle and this new election season, that the president should really emphasize the fact that we do not need bullets in our ballots, not bullets, please. I think as we go into this season, because of what we have seen with Peter Obi in Edo State and now with Rotimi Amechi in Rivers State, we should not be seeing this type of activity in Nigeria in 2026.
Okay. All right, let's quickly run through The Guardian, Punch, and Saturday Telegraph, just their main stories. The Guardian, because as it concerns what is happening, and I like the way The Guardian's cover looks today. Food inflation fears resonate over Middle East crisis. And it can show, the picture of Naira there, of food items, etc. These are the things that we must watch out for. And then the Sun captures it this way: US-Iran war. Nigerians lose millions in dashed Umrah dreams. Intending pilgrims lament financial losses to cancel trips. I paid 13 million. Everything now messed up. It's painful. That's a popular butcher has been quoted there saying that he paid 13 million to go for Umrah in Mecca. But of course, it's obvious given that Umrah will be in less than 2 weeks, at the end of the Ramadan fasting. Even those who are meant to go to Israel, they are now being told pointedly, don't even bother because nobody can guarantee your safety. And by the way, Punch is saying that 4 ministers to quit Tinubu's cabinet given their interest in running for offices in the next election. And then last but not the least, Saturday Telegraph. I'm sure this is why you'll be interested in this. It's about social media, and it says how lure of monetization drives content creators to extremes. How lure of monetization. The madhouse that that the internet, particularly social media, has become.
We do see a lot of people now think that being truthful and honest is an optional thing, and do so to be extreme and to gain attention. And I always push back against this idea of contentification of people's lives. When people have made themselves into products, their personal lives are for viewing and for selling to others.
Commodification of talent.
I actually saw a Nigerian influencer post her designer bags in a hotel in Dubai, saying her point of view in a war, and just like showing.
Point of view is what?
During war, point of view during wartime. I'm in luxury and showing all these designer bags.
That this war doesn't bother me.
That doesn't bother me. Even if I'm here, I'm having fun. And I'm thinking, how inhumane, like how much of your humanity have you lost to be showing off your designer bags when literally thousands of people have died? School children, school girls were killed, and we still do not know why.
And our own economy will be impacted by what is happening, in the Middle East. Like, in any case, she's still there, right?
Yes, so I think.
Let's hope that she gets back in one piece, because people have to be sensitive.
It's absurd behavior
to the times. What other people will call the urgency of now. And if only she knows that. But of course, what the internet and social media does, it allows anybody, to have a say, isn't
to have an audience.
All right, let's make it a good one today. All right, let's wrap up. That brings us to the end of the morning show today. Thank you for watching, and do stay safe. I'm Steve Ayoride.
I'm Adesu Agiwa Osage from my entire team here in Lagos, Nigeria. Enjoy the rest of your morning and, of course, the rest of your day.